Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So recently I was using one of the new Erin Condren journals that I had gotten in the mail, and I realized really quickly that the ink was smearing, and I also realized that there was a little bit of bleed through. And there are really three pens that I can use that are pretty much tried and true, and those are the Papermate Ink Joys, the Tool gel pens, and the Papermate Flares. And those typically do not smear and they do not have any bleed through. So because of that little incident, I thought that it would be a good idea to do an actual pen test. I don't really do those. I've never done one, but I thought that we would do one today. So basically what I'm going to do is, well, I have brought out all of the black pens and markers and such that I own, and I thought that again we would just do like a little pen test just to kind of see what pens are going to be appropriate and effective in what planner. So this is the Erin Condren Life Planner, but I actually am going to be testing out the paper quality in one of the journals or the petite planners as well, because the paper quality in those two items are pretty much the same, and the paper quality in the Erin Condren Life Planner and then the Deluxe Monthly and the notebooks are all pretty much the same as well. And so I thought that we really just need to do two pen tests, to be quite honest. So that's what we're going to do, since this paper quality is really the exact same as this paper quality. So we're just going to test the pen quality in the Life Planner and also in one of the petite planners or one of the journals. So if you're interested in seeing what is going to happen with these pens, then please keep watching. Okay, so first up is this Pigma Micron 0.5, and I am going to just write the name of the pen, and then eventually we'll turn it over to see if there's any bleed through from any of the pens, and if I notice any smearing or anything like that, I will be sharing that with you guys as well. But I figured we could probably just kind of fast forward through like majority of me writing. Okay, so as you can see, some of the gel pens are barely picking up, and I did go in with this Papermate Ink Joy, which is one of the capped ones, but it was not working how I needed it to work. So I went in with one of the similar pens, or the same pen that has a click and no cap. So that is this one. That one wasn't really doing what I needed it to do. As you can see, the Recollections pen, which was the pretty one, was a ballpoint pen, and it didn't really show up too well. I would say This Sharpie Ultra Fine Point is a great pen, but it's just going to depend on if we have any bleed through. Otherwise, I would definitely recommend a Pigma Micron pen. The Ink 42 pen, that's the Pigma. And then the Ink 42, I love this pen. This one comes from the Dollar Tree or the Dollar General as well. And this one comes from like Michael's or like craft stores of the sorts. Papermate flares, those are tried and true. I did like the Erin Condren dual tip marker, but I find that it was a little bold and I just have a feeling it probably bled through. That's pretty much it. I just wanted to explain the different pens that I use. Also the Sharpie Fine Point, Ultra Fine Point, but I have a feeling that one bled through as well. I typically use the gel pens, honestly, but it wasn't really doing me too much. I didn't really care for. See, it's normally beautiful, but, and it writes beautiful, but it wasn't really doing much for me. Like whenever I put all of the pens on here, I really find that the ones that I just showed you kind of were the best. So let's just flip over rather, and see. So the first thing that I'm noticing is that the Sharpie Fine Point is really bleeding through. That's that one. The Sharpie Ultra Fine Point is bleeding through a lot as well. You can't much see the Crazy Art washable marker, to be honest. And the Erin Condren one it's not bleeding through, but it's definitely peeking through really boldly. But the only ones that are really kind of like bleeding through are the ones that you can kind of see right here, and those are the two Sharpie pens. But other than that, the rest of them didn't quite bleed through. Some of these you can kind of feel the impression, or the depression rather, whichever is the correct terminology, but the ones at the top you can't really too much feel any of those. So that's quite interesting that I can really only feel those. I don't know if I was like drawing the line a little harder than usual or whatever the case was. So like I said, the only ones that are really bleeding through are these two. The rest of them you definitely can see through. I think that's just going to be the case. Even if I wrote light-handed, I don't write light, I don't write like hard. I'm kind of right in the middle. But let's see if we were to write harder with this. Shay, and then let's write lighter. See, when I wrote light, you can barely even see it. So overall, I'm going to continue to use my Papermate Flare that I know and love. I may actually be adding into the mix this Micron pen. Yeah, I mean, this really shows up well on this, you guys. I may be adding this to the mix, and it's kind of like a marker type situation, which is even better because those I feel like have less, create less smearing. So I think I'll be sticking to these two pens for sure. And if I can get away with it, I may even use some of my Sharpie pens as well. Again, I did use black, so if you were to use color, then that would probably be a different story, but who really uses like a bunch of colored? Okay, maybe there are people who use like a bunch of colored pens and such in their planners. But anyway, I just wanted to do a pen test for myself, and I thought that I would just show it to you guys. And I still want to do another pen test for one of the journals or petite planners or whatever. So let me just pull those out and we'll kind of walk through that as well. Okay, so here's one of the journals. And then here's one of the hardbound journals. And I'm trying to check out the paper quality. Honestly, I would say is pretty much the same. This does seem to be like a wee bit thicker. So for which case we're not going to do the journal, because this paper is, it's almost like as thick as the paper in the, I would say is basically as thick as the paper in the life planner that we just used. Like now that I'm really comparing. So I'm pretty sure that one would basically perform like the life planner. So let's do this journal, and this is like really thin paper. So this is actually the journal that I was writing in when I noticed the smearing and the bleed through. So this should be quite interesting. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so here is how those pens and markers performed. I realized while I was doing this that this is actually a dual tip marker, so I did go in and use like the smaller tip, but honestly the same pen really resonates with me in this particular little journal as well, and that's the Paper Mate Flare. Again, it's a felt tip pen, so it rarely like bleeds through and there's rarely any smearing. I'm really trying to look hard. The Pigma Micron also is not bad, and the Ink R2 pen, the Tool Gel isn't terrible, but the rest of them I would probably have to forego. But let's see if there is any bleed through. Again, we're going to be able to see it typically. Okay, so we have bleed through from the Sharpie Ultra Fine Point. Oh, I didn't do the Sharpie. You guys, we didn't do the Sharpie Fine Point. Now let's see. So, okay, same thing. Bleeding through with those two Sharpie pens, and a little bit, honestly, with the Ink R2. Let's see how it performed over here. No, there was no bleed through over there. That just shows you that that paper is much thicker. Again, I don't have a heavy hand, but I can feel like the depressions or impressions, whichever word it is, with these pens here, but not really with the pens at the top. So I find that to be quite interesting, and then not with the Sharpie pens either. So really just with these ballpoint pens, really, like, because most of those were ballpoint pens. So anyway, I just wanted to do the test, so now I know which pens I can get away with. I'm probably just going to go with my tried and true Paper Mate Flare. As you can see, nothing, you really can't even see it. It's this one here, and you really can't even see it peeking through. So that's pretty much what I plan to use. Oh gosh, I guess that is a test we should have done. And oh, I may have spit a little bit, and that may have happened. That may be from spit. I don't know, because that smeared too, so maybe not from spit. But yeah, that's a mess. So yeah, I don't know what that could be. Let's see, did I spit? I'm just saying, I don't know if I spit. But yeah, so we probably can't use those. I don't know what that is from, but I think we need to just stick with our Paper Mate Flare. That seems like it's the best way to go. So again, I just kind of wanted to do this for myself, and I thought that I would bring you guys along with me. Again, I'm going to be sticking to my Micron. Well, I've never really used the Micron, but it looks like that's something that I need to get behind. Yeah, for sure. And then the Paper Mate Flare. So these are going to be my two recommended pens. Again, this is the Pigma Micron 05. I have seen these at Michael's, but I got it from somebody somewhere. And then this is the Paper Mate Flare, definitely at Michael's, and I think Walmart, and like pretty much every store. Well, I haven't seen them in like Dollar General or Dollar Tree, but like pretty much every store outside of that. So anyway, I just wanted to do a pen test, bring you guys along with me. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and that it was helpful, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.